From Yankee Stadium, the New York Yankees meet the Kansas City Royals. On the mound for Kansas City, Mark Gubizca with a record of 2-4. And Mike Witt will do the pitching for the Yankees. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Yankees baseball on MSG with Tony Kubek. This is Dwayne Stats. Nice to have you with us. Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Royals and the Yankees on tap here this afternoon. Tony, the Yankees held to only 1 run, 2 hits last night, and they've shuffled the lineup today.
Well, Bucky Dent desperately looking for some run production from his last 4 spots in the lineup. So he's got Balboni DHing, Velarde's in the lineup, Cerrone, and Espinosa will sit today. Tolleson plays short. John Wathan also is making a move. He's putting George Brett out in right field today.
As mentioned, another new face in action for the Yankees today, right-hander Mike Witt. Moments ago, Tony talked with Yankee catcher Rick Cerrone about Witt.
Well, the biggest thing we try to do is talk to him before the game, how he wants to work, who he's had success with in their lineup. My job will be to go down before he gets into the ball game, catch him in the bullpen for about 10 minutes, see what I can expect. And then also, you know, I've hit off him a bunch of times. I know he's got a nasty breaking ball, so I'll keep that in the back of my mind and use everything.
Yankee baseball coming up this afternoon, and we'll be right back with the starting lineups following this.
Recently, Four Wheel and Off-Road magazine.
Brought to you by for baseball at Yankee Stadium. And Mike Witt, the 29-year-old right-hander, is on the mound for the Yankees.
I think this is a guy, Dwayne, who has a chance to be a #1 pitcher for this ball club next year. He had a big inning build-up, average for about 5 years of about 35 starts. Last year, started pitching in relief. This year, only in relief. Outstanding curveball and a good fastball. And I think Billy Connors would probably like him to start throwing some off-speed stuff.
This is his first start of the year, 0-3. And a 177 with California. Let's take a look at the Kansas City lineup for Miller Genuine Draft. Kevin Seitzer leads off. He's at third. Kurt Stillwell at short with Gerald Perry at first hitting third. Bo Jackson's the center fielder. In right field, George Brett hitting fifth. Danny Tartable back. He is the designated hitter. Jim Eisenreich at left. Mike McFarland, a hitting star last night for Kansas City. The catcher hits eighth, and Terry Shufford at second base, batting ninth. Defensively for the Yankees this afternoon, Velarde at third, Tolleson, the shortstop, getting a start. Sachs and Mattingly on the right side. In the outfield, Hall and left, Kelly in center with Washington at right. Rick Cerrone does the catcher.
Two very good friends. Bob Schaefer, the first base coach managing the Yankee organization. The first full season of Don Mattingly was at Greensboro in the Sally League. Bob Schaefer was his manager, and all Donnie did was hit about 358, lead the league in hits, get 105 RBIs, and then Schaefer moved on to the Mets organization and still helped him with his hitting. Bob Schaefer says the man that really played a big part was Mickey Vernon, who said, "Don't change." Yeah, he was also telling me an interesting story. Schaefer said that if you look at the current conditions, a very nice day. The Yankees were talking about making Mattingly a second baseman because he is ambidextrous.
We've seen that in the infield and batting practice already this year. We're all set to play baseball. And here is Kevin Seitzer stepping in. Batting .261. And the game is underway. The pitch upstairs. Seitzer had that 17-game hitting streak come to an end last night. This one high. 2-0.
Very few pitchers in their career have been able, as Mike Witt has most of the time, have 2 dominant pitches. Bert Blyleven did, of course, Nolan Ryan, Koufax, great fastball curve. Most of Witt's career is spent with just those 2 pitches.
He throws a strike there. See Seitzer shorten up, and Velarde shorten up in response. 2-1. 3 balls and a strike. You mentioned all the starts in the innings pitched the last few years for Witt, Tony. In each of the last 6 seasons, over 220 innings. Only one other pitcher to do that in the major leagues during that span, and that's Frank Viola. That's on the corner. Full count, 3-2.
Seitzer, a great example to use if you're teaching a young kid to hit. They say he used the entire field from foul line to foul line. Will work the count. Will take a base on balls. Terrific contact to him. To be an ideal leadoff hitter, they would like to have him have more speed, obviously, but.
And Witt loses it. So Mike Witt issues a walk to the first man he faces. Seitzer aboard. Kansas City 12-21 coming into this one. And the Yankees 13-19.
I would guess that Billy Connors has studied films and has talked to Marcel Latchman, the pitching coach who had Mike Witt. If there is a problem with his mechanics, what to look for. It's kind of a grapevine among coaches, I think, as the word gets around.
Here's Kurt Stillwell. Stillwell is 10th in the American League in hitting.
He's been settling down a little bit over the last half dozen games or so. The average is shrinking somewhat. Adrian Garrett down at third.
Stillwell just 24 years old. He has been an offensive force with this Kansas City ball club, and that was a big plus. They knew he was an excellent infielder, getting him from Cincinnati. He's gotten some big hits for them.
His brother Rod is a shortstop, switch hitter in the lower minor leagues for the Royals.
And Seitzer, the base runner. Nobody out. We've just started. That's a breaking ball over for a strike. 1-1.
That was a hard curve. It was a slider that he just threw. He's got the good overhand curve, equally effective against right or left-handed hitters. If you don't know Mike, you would think he's a very gruff guy, but I don't think he likes the spotlight. He shooes writers away at times, and that got some of them mad in this area.
2 balls and a strike. He said he thought he was off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, yeah. Well, John Wathan started runner. Stillwell, a pretty good contact hitter. Batting from the left side, a little bit more difficult for Cerrone to throw if he took the pitch. This team's had trouble scoring runs also. It's going.
Well, there it goes. It stops, and a roller for Sachs. Out at second and out at first. The Yankees turn the double play. Sachs, Collison to Mattingly. 4-6-3.
And Seitzer, by starting off first base, and then he did stop, as you indicated, almost pulled Steve Sachs out of position. Sachs was going over to cover, and then he held his ground when Seitzer held, and Tolleson turns it.
So the double play erases the leadoff walk.
I believe the hit and run was on, and Seitzer really did not feel he had a good jump, and then he just held up.
Here's Gerald Perry.
Show you how little things can turn an inning around, and that made Sachs freeze and not cover the bag, and the ball's hit right at him.
A strike to count. 1-1. Perry up through the Atlanta system. Had some shoulder problems with a recurrence of a shoulder dislocating. Had some surgery done. 2 balls and a strike to count.
The steal by John Sherrills went a little bit unnoticed. I mean, Gerald Perry, as he is playing first base today, he's got a little running speed. And for Kansas City, that big ballpark, he's a gap hitter on the turf. There's a lot of extra base hits in that ballpark.
Witt misses. 3-1.
There's so much publicity given to Mark Davis signing, and now they have 2 Cy Young Award winners that he went unnoticed, but he's a pretty good player.
And has been productive as of late, as you saw there. 14 of his 18 runs batted in the last 14 games. Hot shot, but right at Mattingly. And Perry's out to retire the side. No runs, double play, nobody left. We'll go into the bottom of the first. Kansas City nothing, and the Yankees are coming in to hit.
freedom is all that matters. Freedom is everything.
There's a new light shining over Eastern Europe.
The Hungarians are waiting for a very long time.
A light of hope, joy, and most of all, a new light of freedom.
Everything is changing. It's wonderful.
It's a miracle.
I'm so happy.
And in this spirit, GE has entered into a historic partnership with a company called Tungsram, Hungary's leading lighting company.
Freedom is something that you have to work for very hard.
It's like a dream, a beautiful dream.
At GE, we're proud to play even a small part in helping the Hungarian people build what promises to be a truly brilliant future.
I'm a young man.
The Yankees are home to battle the Chicago White Sox. After Scorecard, Monday at 7, here on MSG Network.
Bottom of the first coming. The Yankees facing right-hander Mark Gubizca, 27 years old. On for the 8th time this year. One complete game, 2-4 with a .625 earned run average.
Well, his stuff is livelier than Brett Saberhagen's. He will have some control problems at times, but boy, he's got a great slider. He had some shoulder problems at the end of last year, Dwayne, and they backed him off, so he didn't throw much during the offseason. And with a shortened spring, it's been taking him longer to get in gear.
Here is the Yankee lineup for Miller Genuine Draft. Steve Sachs leads it off, followed by Roberto Kelly and Don Mattingly. Mel Hall's in left, Vaudell Washington hitting 5th. Steve Balboni at the DH, Rick Cerrone catching, Randy Velarde at 3rd, and Wayne Collison batting 9th, playing shortstop. Defensively for Kansas City, well, that's Seitzer and Stillwell on the left side, Shumpert and Perry on the right side, Eisenreich in left, Jackson in center, George Brett in right field, McFarland doing the catching for Gubizca.
Does it seem odd not to have Frank White at second base? As George Brett, who's got 2 outfield assists, he threw, I think, Robin Yount out and Spike Owens, but those are from left field.
He's in right field, George Brett. First time in right field since 1983 in July, when he made a start against the Yankees in Kansas City playing right field. Steve Sachs takes the first pitch high for a ball.
The only positions George has not played are pitcher and catcher in center field.
That's a strike.
And as a youngster, there's no doubt that he could have played center field because he ran well and he threw very well.
He has 27 games under his belt in the outfield. Sachs the other way, foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Gubizca with a wicked sinker, a hard sinker and a hard slider. He's throwing a few changeups now, but Frank Funk, his pitching coach, said he's also throwing some riding four-seam fastballs. There was one right there.
A shot into the seats, foul.
That was one of those.
1-2.
And as Frank Funk said, he said that riding fastball at 4 seams is about a yard quicker than the other one.
Yankees beaten last night 4-1. Kansas City on a 7-game road trip. They'll go to Detroit and Boston. The Yankees will wrap up this one tomorrow. Then the Chicago White Sox come in.
Before that last pitch, you saw Mike McFarlane, the young catcher, step out in front of home plate to try and back Gubizca off a little bit, but he was overthrowing. And of course, McFarlane rode the spring training every day with Bob Boone the last 2 years, and they talked pitching and setting up hitters.
3-2 the count. And he's made a lot of progress in that department, realizing that the big part of catching is exactly that, not the offensive side. He was always very proud of his offense. But the last year or so, he's made tremendous strides doing the catching. This is Stillwell.
Whoa.
To Perry and almost pulled him off the bag. Sachs is out of there short to first.
McFarlane now is going to have another talk, I believe, with Gubizca. He's way back from backing up first base. He gets back out to Gubizca to get him to stop overthrowing, which has always been a problem for Gubizca, trying to blow everybody away. Farley's come back also from shoulder problems, severe rotator cuff surgery. Talking to Mickey Cobb, the trainer, he said, boy, pitchers are easier to rehabilitate because they've got one delivery. A catcher throws from all angles and has to throw more quickly, and it's tougher for a catcher to come back. And he's come back.
Roberto Kelly taking a strike. Well, they're pretty well satisfied with the mechanical side of his game now. A ball and a strike. Boone not available for this series with the split finger.
But Boone, he plays all those years, doesn't have hand damage. He tries to catch a pop foul and it splits his finger.
And ball in on Kelly. 1-2.
He actually has got 4 catches when Boone is here, and he's out on the West Coast. Steve Jeltz over from the Phillies. He's been catching a little bit. We got Ray Palacios at the Grand Slam the other day. Boone and McFarlane.
The 1-2. Right back through the middle. Sharply hit. And Kelly has himself a base hit. Gubizca had no chance on that one. That ball was smoke.
I couldn't tell if it hit the pitcher's rubber and caught part of Gubizca's heel. Appeared to be a slider up in the strike zone.
So the Yankees have a base runner, and Don Mattingly will be the hitter.
Remember 87 when the ball was lively? They were talking about all the home runs. Another indication you got was in 87, a lot of pitchers were getting hit by balls back at them. Couldn't get out of the way. They were coming off the bat so fast.
Kelly back in. It's always amazed me that hitters don't hit pitchers like that more often. Pitcher, by the time he delivers the pitch, he's a lot closer than 60 feet 6 inches, and many times off balance.
Especially at Gubizca, who throws so hard that his follow through is toward first base. Sometimes he moves back to the hitter.
Mattingly waiting for the first pitch this time in. And he takes a strike.
Change up. First off-speed pitch that Gubizca has thrown.
Terry Cooney is calling the balls and strikes this afternoon. Joe Brinkman at first, Rick Reed at second, Darrell Cousins at third. A ball and a strike.
Gubizca tries to turn a pitch over and sink it, maybe get a ground ball off Mattingly, and McFarlane shifts very well to his left to block it.
Kelly, the base runner, back in there. Fury holding him on. And Shumpert shaded a couple steps toward the hole on the right side. 2 balls and a strike.
That's the right side. Gubizca, if he runs that sinker ball away, he's difficult to pull through the right side. Like he throws a heavy ball. He's one of those guys where you think you're right on the pitch, and the hitter's telling me that it just goes thunk and it goes nowhere.
There goes Kelly. And a bouncer right side handle unassisted by Perry.
You're out, Donnie. If you start running in the reverse order, you're gone.
So Kelly moves up to second.
The shortstop slot was vacant. Mattingly was trying to hit it through the right side, tried to pull a 2-1 pitch, was still well covering the bag. The left side was open. It was not a pitch that Don could get through the left side. One of those, he was trying to hook it through the right side. You could see that top hand come over to try and get more on the ball to try and shoot it past Perry.
So Perry with a pickup, and then just for good measure, flipped the ball to first. Millhall up with a man in scoring position. Ball 1. All batting .256. Yankees utilizing their 27th lineup today. Nobody covering back there.
See, yesterday, the day before, was the first time all year in consecutive games they used the same lineup.
Ball and a strike.
If, as Al Troutwick said, and he was right, the fastball of Saberhagen yesterday was wicked, this guy here just, it doesn't matter if you're left or right-handed here with Gubizca. The way his ball moves, he just tries to start his pitches down the middle of the plate, and they run all over.
Ball tried to hold, but he went around. Now he's behind 1-2.
Is that a late breaking slider?
Boy.
Paul Splittorff, former pitcher here and a 20-game winner, now a broadcaster, said that his slider's been better than his fastball. And Splittorff said that can't figure it out. Usually the slider comes a little later when you had a shoulder problem like he did. And so the fastball's been troubling the Gubizca, running out of the strike zone.
He's ahead of Hall. He pulls it to Shumpert. And that takes care of the Yankees. Shumpert to Perry. No runs, 1 hit. 1 left. We've gone through an inning this afternoon with no score.
Been pretty impressive tonight.
Fly ball. All the way back. Gets it goodbye. Home run for Jesse Barfield. On to the second inning, Mike Witt making the start for the Yankees. He's tall to begin with, and when he walks on top of that mound, he's even bigger, isn't he? Here's the breakdown. Witt 6'7". Only Lee Guterman, currently on the Yankee staff, taller among the tallest Yankees.
Where is Steve Hamilton? Wasn't he 6'7"?
Baseball Encyclopedia is the source for that, so we'll have to check. Run down to Morehead State and get the tape measure out. Here's Bo Jackson taking one too close, ball 1.
Plus, Mike Witt doesn't have Steve Hamilton's folly floater. Is he saying that ball got a part of his nose and hit him? That's where you want to try and pitch him. Bury him inside, hit him on the fist, then go away.
Ball 2, 2-0, and he's staying right in there.
Oh, yeah, he's been knocked down by Nolan Ryan with that 99-mile fastball and gotten off the deck. Even though he struck out a lot against Ryan, gotten off the deck, and he has hit home runs off Nolan.
He takes her up and fouls it. 2 balls and a strike.
But that is good to see Mike Witt pitch inside, especially the right-handed hitters. Make the breaking ball that much more effective. Some hitters, and Bo is not one of them, you could intimidate and keep them off the plate. Bo doesn't happen to be one of them.
You just have to pitch in there for survival against this guy.
Yeah. I mean, Bosworth didn't intimidate him on that Monday night, did he, when he ran over him right at the goal line?
3 balls and a strike. Bo Jackson. Yankees drafted him in 1982. He went on to Auburn. Full count now. He'll be followed by Brad and Tartable in this inning.
Bo Jackson has begun to hit a few home runs over the last 6 or 7 games. He was slow starting the power numbers early.
And he's out on strikes. So Witt got it. Pretty good sequence of pitching right there by Mike Witt.
Well, Mike Witt with that good curveball pitches inside to set up the other pitches. The ball's right down the middle or maybe outside part of the plate, and Jackson just swings through it, which he does to a lot of pitches. If he gets 600 plate appearances, he might strike out 200 times, but he's going to give you 30 home runs and close to 100 RBIs.
He's out this time, and here's George Brett. Bouncing one foul. Strike 1. Brett's hitting .229. Now 37 years old.
They would like to get 5 innings out of Mike Witt today. Most he's thrown this season has been 60 pitches. And they'd like to kind of gradually get him 5 innings, then maybe 7.
A ball and a strike.
I'll probably say George Brett hasn't really been hitting the ball on the line as much as he usually does. A lot of his things are going more up in the air, like lazy fly balls.
The count's 2-1. Some good numbers against Witt, but Witt's not alone in that department. Not against Brett. The count even. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Perhaps the late Charlie Lau's prize pupil. And just the mechanics that he's working with Brett. He was looking for pitches. Well, when Charlie was here one year, he was 390, and he called so many pitches for George Brett.
Full count. Witt walks Seitzer to open the ball game. Got the double play ball out of Stillwell. Perry put the ball on the button, but right automatically. Strikeout of Jackson here in the second.
Witt's the kind of guy when he's in gear, 3-2, he would throw a curveball.
And he got it. He struck him out. Strikeouts of Jackson and Brett to start the second.
He goes full again as he did to Bo Jackson. He does the same thing. A fastball. Didn't look like it had a whole lot of action. Down and in. Usually a pitch that is the easiest one for a left-handed hitter leverage. Pitch down and in. Brett swings through it. That's something unusual about Brett. His strikeout total is somewhat alarming to some people. Usually strikes out 35, 40 times. He's already gone down, what, 23?
That's the 23rd time right there. There's Danny Tartable just off the disabled list. 1 ball, no strikes.
Last game Tartable played was opening day before he tore the plantaris muscle in his calf.
And Witt is behind him.
We found out, Dwayne, how much they miss his RBI production, too. In that 4th or 5th spot.
It's been a tough start for this Kansas City ball club. They start today 10.5 games behind in the American League's Western Division. Foul ball. Last year, they were never behind more than 7.5 games.
But John Wathan talked before the season that the goal to win the Western Division, based on what Oakland has done the last couple of years, would be 100 wins.
Yeah, and to do that, to win 100 games now, they would have to play 47 games over 500 from this point on.
Nobody's that good.
The count goes to 2-2. Wathan was saying that what he's hoping, that the White Sox are truly better, that Seattle is truly better, and that
Minnesota,
perhaps,
maybe.
That's right, and perhaps it will take less than 100 games to win it. That's going to have to happen if the Royals are going to be a factor. And Witt strikes out the side. He got Tartable swinging. 3 up, 3 down, and we'll go into the bottom of the second. No score.
What do you think of when you think of Memorial Day? But the real question is, how does Nobody Beats the Wiz turn your Memorial Day into a party? Anything else? Now you know. When you want to turn your Memorial Day into a party, nobody beats the Wiz.
This is it. The Tour de Life, the race to win America's favorite light beer, has reached New York.
Excuse me, fellas. I'm looking for New York. Big place, tall buildings. Subway.
This is when many cyclists say they hit the wall, but they push on. Why? Because it's there, at the finish line, a lifetime supply of Miller Lite. And now, it is anybody's race.
All right. Looking good.
Yes? Good morning. I'm here to sell you on gas heat.
Oh, no.
For instance, gas heat is more economical than oil.
Oh, yeah? Then why does the government say oil heat is more efficient than gas?
Okay, but oil prices shot up in December.
Yeah, and then came down. Goodbye.
Oh, what the gas company will do to get you to switch. Get the facts about oil heat. Don't fall for the gas line.
Gas is more, modern. Yeah, and it's safer too, right?
Oil heat. Get the facts.
Tickets for all Yankee home games are on sale at the stadium ticket windows, open 7 days a week from 9 to 5, and at all Ticketmaster ticket centers. To charge your tickets, call Ticketmaster at 212-307-7171.
Right field.
Mike Witt in the Yankee dugout after striking out the side in the top of the second. And here's Cordell Washington to open the home half the inning. Washington, Balboni, and Cerrone. Gubizca misses with the first one, ball one.
The Scooter would have been proud of you. Cerrone, I like that.
Ground ball to first. And Perry takes care of it unassisted.
It's another one of those swings like Hall when he grounded out in the first. Have a good swing, you think you're right on the ball, and the ball just deadened off the bat with the heavy pitch that he throws. Hey, Storm Davis and Rich Dotson are 1-7. The ERAs are not very impressive, but even if they move them out of the rotation, they could move a kid named Kevin Apier in and still have a pretty good rotation.
Here's Balboni.
Shifts on in the infield.
Balboni, the designated hitter. Ball one. Bucky Dent trying to get Balboni a few extra at bats. There's a strike.
Bo Jackson center field as Bucky Dent looks at the overshift on his DH Balboni.
A bouncer foul. 1-2.
Bo Jackson center field playing about straight away. Guys are like right on the line and left, or close to it. There's Bo. Kind of outfield like Kansas City's made for his running speed, isn't it? And his throwing arm, it's so strong. He can throw from deep and left and right center field.
2-2 the count. Gubizca missing close. Balboni 2 out of his last 26. Full count.
Well, Bucky Dent is very aware that this is the man that got hurt the most with Winfield here. That wasn't getting the at-bat because Winfield was DHing. And he knows that Balboni will strike out, but has been a good run producer.
Popper. Shumpert stalking it over the shoulder. He was on the shortstop side of the bag at second. Had to go to his left to take care of that pop-up.
You think Balboni tried to shoot that ball through the right side? I don't know if the fastball in there just handcuffed him, if he's actually trying to hit it on the ground through the right side. Hard to tell. Ball ran in on him, got in his fist.
I think it ran in on him a little bit there. Here's Cerrone.
No pitch.
That's no pitch. Cerrone starting in the place of Guerin. I guess Cooney, maybe he was stung.
A swarm of bees is attacking. Here comes Gene Monahan. Now, there's no swarm of bees, but that's crazy.
Wow.
Blood from something.
Gene Monahan will take care of the plate umpire, Terry Cooney. Little first aid stop here.
Heck, very ordinary.
Closing ground in second. My girl Jeannie on route.
Were so high and so much preseason publicity that they were going to win, or at least contend in their respective divisions, that mystical fear of success sets in, where the responsibility of having to win overwhelms an entire team. We've seen it happen to players who reach a comfort zone and say, boy, I don't want that responsibility. You wonder if that is this kind of team, because the talent is so massive on this team, especially the pitching staff.
Well, John Watson said he'd never experienced a situation as a manager in the short time he's managed, or as a player, where a club had entered a season with such high expectations and then struggled the way they have. And as we mentioned earlier, right now they are 10.5 back. In the win 100 games, they'd have to go 88 and 41 the rest of the way to get to the century mark in wins, and it's very difficult to play that well. You're talking about close to 700 baseball.
And the Duke said, he said just before spring training, I guess it was in February, he sent a letter to every player telling them to be aware of what might happen. He said it wasn't negative, but he said, we are one of those that are favored to catch Oakland. Al, what happened? You tell us what happened.
Well, he looked at the top of Rick Cerrone's bat when he came back out. He seemed to feel that on a swing that Rick Cerrone took, that it must have hit him in the elbow. But there's a loose piece of wood or something that did a bloody damage.
Well, that's enough, but it's really getting over the shoulder of the catcher right underneath the bat of the hitter.
1 ball, no strikes. This one fouled off the end of the bat, so the count is 1 ball, 1 strike. We've talked about the problems the Yankees have had against right-handers. They're only 6-15. Kansas City has won only 7 games against right-handed pitching. There's a strike. The Royals have gone 7-19 against right-handers.
Well, the Royals have the lowest home run total of any team in the major leagues, 15. Then come the Cardinals, who aren't noted for their power except for Guerrero. And then come the Yankees, who have 18 home runs on the season. Kansas City's ballpark is so massive. They don't have a short fence to shoot at like the Yankees do in right field.
Cerrone checks. So we go to 2-2.
It's a tough guy after you've played and seeing this kind of breaking stuff for about 6 days to break in with that slider and that fastball. Cerrone hasn't played since last Sunday.
And he has this one off the glove of Seitzer. Ball dribbling into left. So Cerrone is aboard. That's a base hit.
Seitzer was a guy that they originally wanted to move over to first base, but then as Brett put some age on, and Seitzer has played there, Brett on the move there, so they end up keeping Seitzer at third, where his range is limited.
Brings up Randy Velarde. Cerrone has hit safely in 7 straight now, the games that he has started. And Velarde takes the ball. Washington opened the inning with a bouncer to Perry. Balboni popped out. Cerrone with a base hit. Now Velarde. Two balls, no strikes. McFarland's on his way to the mound.
I don't think that had anything to do with the 2 pitches that were close to Bo Jackson. Or does it have something to do with that?
Why not?
I recall in Oakland, when the Yankees got out of town, Dave Stewart got Don Mattingly back after McGuire got hit in the first game of that series.
2-0 the count. Now it's a 3-ball, no strike count. No score. We're in the bottom of the 2nd.
This is the guy right here with Tollison up next. I let him take a crack at a 3-0 pitch. Got a little power. Got a man on base. Velarde go if he likes it.
3-1.
Inside part of the plate. He just eased it on in. Maybe he doesn't like the 3-0.
Velarde last played Sunday as well. And Tollison on deck getting his first start. There's a liner, base hit. Velarde on 3-1 lines it into left. Cerrone stops at second. 2 men on with 2 men out for Tollison.
With a catcher on second, any base hit, they would be playing Tollison very shallow. Eisenreich's arm and left can be run on. He's had arm problems lately. Jackson's strong, can be erratic. George Brett will have to find out what he's got left in that arm after playing first base so much. Cerrone's going to have to get a good secondary lead. He expects to score on a base hit to left to the outfield.
So Tollison 0 for 1 on the year. Steps in, batting left-handed for the first time, and he takes a strike. Gubizca off the plate inside. 1-1.
Oh, Bo Jackson's arm is strong. Sometimes his arm is like his other talents, inhuman. But he throws guys out in places you can't believe.
He is already legendary both with his home runs and his throwing. A ball, 2 strikes. For Brett, they put him in right field, and they said just go out there. He said it's kind of like playing a deep first.
That last slider was unfair to Tollison. He doesn't have many at bats this year. Got him. Hit him. Nope.
Nope. And the count goes to 2-2.
How'd it miss him? If it didn't get, it looked like it went right through him. And finally, once again, and a tough one at that, because He's got to go behind the left-handed hitter, Tollison. Showing some mobility back there.
Tollison just got the right foot out of the way. So the count goes to 2-2. A little tap right side.
That hit him on
it's
the
a
foot.
Foul ball.
Did it. They're going to check the polish.
So Tollison fouled that one off his foot, holding the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
See, veterans are a little bit better actors than rookies. Whether or not that hit, I'm not certain. Probably think it's a weak ground ball. Why don't you stand right here and yelp a little bit? Maybe I'll get a call. Let's see if it did or did not hit.
Another look here.
Didn't hit him at all. The ball never hit him, did it?
Picked up a lot of dust. You can't tell. He says, oops, that hit
Well,
me.
that ball was about 6 inches from his right foot. I don't know if it got his pants leg. He started running hard. He said, I'm not going to beat this out anyway.
That's all part of being a veteran.
Oh, that's... Olivier would be proud of it, I think.
Trying to keep the inning going for the top of the order. He's out on strikes. McFarland gets the angle and goes down to Perry to complete the strikeout. No runs for the Yankees. Couple hits and 2 left. At the end of 2, Kansas City nothing and the Yankees nothing. Start the double play to end the inning. Long drive. Hits the foul ball. Home run for Don Mattingly. And his Yankee debut. Witt struck out the side in the 2nd inning. He got Tartable to end it. They got Jackson, Brett, and then Tartable.
2, 3, and 2 counts, and this 2 and 2 pitch gets Danny Tartable.
In the 3rd. And he starts him by missing ball 1.
It's one of the great stories in baseball, I think. Jim Eisenreich didn't know what he had with the Twins. Finally got out of the baseball, played softball, diagnosed with Tourette syndrome. Last year he was voted by the media the Royals Player of the Year. I mean, he played center field and played it well.
Kansas City got him on waivers. 2-0.
Playing for Sammy's Pizza softball team in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And he decided to make a comeback.
And a base hit. A shot up the middle. First Kansas City hit of the ball game. So Eisenreich's aboard for McFarland.
Number 15,
Mike Witt getting behind. 2 balls, no strike. He's been behind in the count on quite a few hitters so far. Is the ball lively or not? I believe some of them are. The way they're getting back on the pitchers without being able to get the glove up.
So Eisenreich is on. McFarland takes a strike. McFarland homered last night. He was the offensive weapon for Kansas City in last night's ball game. 10 runs batted in on the year.
Eisenreich's got decent speed down at first base. McFarland, they may try and hit and run with him. Although it's tough when the guys just struck out the side the last inning.
1 ball, 1 strike. Witt not only throws a lot of innings, but throws a lot of pitches. 1-1 the count.
Boy, was he leaning. Mike Witt read him, too. Well, it may be true because the tall pitcher, the longer delivery, it takes him a little bit longer to get in gear. Hand-eye coordination, a little bit longer to coordinate.
The 1-1. Ground ball. Velarde. Sacks 1. First base 2. So for the 2nd time this afternoon, the Yankees turn a double play. This one started by the 3rd baseman Velarde, who takes it around the horn to get 2.
Little witnessing sinking action off the fastball from Mike Witt. They get the hitter McFarland hit on the top of the ball. Velarde gives it the perfect spot to see sacks with Eisenreich bearing down.
And here's Shumpert, the young infielder, Terry Shumpert, batting ninth. He lifts the popper on the left side. Collison taking charge, and that retires the side. So Shumpert out on the first pitch, no runs a hit, but nobody left as a result of the double play. We'll go into the Yankee third. Royals nothing, Yankees nothing.
On Sunday, June 3rd, MSG Network presents Yankee Bat Day, and all kids 14 and younger will receive a free Yankee bat. Get your tickets now.
My baby loves to be treated special.
Nothing's too good for my baby. So nothing but ultra, nothing but ultra.
Treat your baby to the power and performance of Sunoco Ultra 94.
Fill it up. Ultra.
At 94 octane, it's the highest under the sun. Sunoco Ultra 94.
Nothing's too good for my baby.
The Tour de Light is rolling across America.
Where's Witty?
And they might be coming to your town with lots of instant prizes. If a Miller Lite biker spots you holding a Miller Lite, you could win up to $10,000 and a Raleigh bicycle. So pick up the less filling beer that really tastes great, and you might pick up $10,000 as the Tour de Light races across America.
The forecast showers heavy at times.
Isn't it good to know that at least there's one place where everybody can get exactly what they want? Carvel. It's everybody's soft spot.
New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by GE. From aircraft engines to appliances, we bring good things to life. We go to the bottom of the third. No score, and it's time for the Miller Lite home run inning as Steve Sachs bounces this one foul. Strike one. Today's contestants, Jorge Hernandez of Morgan, New Jersey. Just for being picked, you win 2 tickets to a Yankees game, and you're eligible for one of 2 grand prize trips to a Yankees road game in Toronto. If the Yankees hit a home run during this inning, you could win a Sharp VCR, and if it's a grand slam, a Sharp TV. A ball and a strike. There's a strike. A ball, 2 strikes now.
Actually, Mark Gubizca delivered. He isn't quite as low as Tom Seaver when Tom Terrific dragged that right knee on the ground, but he's pretty close, isn't he, with the lower body?
There's physical evidence of that. A ball, 2 strikes. Foul into the stands down the right side.
I think a lot of pitchers, when they pitch, they will look where their front foot lands and have a spot to ensure the release point for various pitches. And many times you look down at that release point to land, but Gubizca's got a pattern with dragging his right leg that is kind of unusual.
Count evens, 2-2. Roberto Kelly will follow Sachs, and then Mattingly.
Look out.
Whoa. Sachs hits the deck.
And a day like this in Yankee Stadium, even though they've got the nice hitter's eye in black, still with all the glare after a night game and a short night's sleep, ball coming at you about 90 and tailing in, and the ground comes up to meet Steve Sachs in a hurry right here, folks. Whoa.
And that runs the count to 3-2.
Just telling you, and that ball probably slipped. I tell you, don't lean over for my slider, boys. The way Witt was telling Bo Jackson, don't lean over for my curveball.
Foul ball holding the count right there.
What's that, Dave?
Again, the 3-2, and Sachs bounces it to Shumpert. So Sachs, nothing of 2. One gone in the third. Take a look at his move, Tony, and his form.
The last slider, you can see the dirt on his right knee, so he does at times get the knee, but there's a nice pattern that he draws when he drags his right toe that just seems to be in the same spot for almost every pitch, and he refers to that to see if he's got his proper balance. And painting a picture on the dirt surface of the mound.
Roberto Kelly takes ball one. Two nothing. The two hitters in the Yankee lineup who've had pretty fair success against Gubizca would be Mattingly and Hall. Sacks coming in 5 of 15. That's tough play. Stillwell knocks it down and has no play. Roberto Kelly is 2 for 2 today.
You might notice that Mattingly and Hall are both left-handed hitters, and as we saw with Sachs, the weak swing after the slider, you just can't sit on the pitch if you're right-handed with this guy, because the foul, he's got that, well, he's conveniently wild. This is the pitch that Kelly just hit. No knee touching the ground. Don't know what significance there is to it. If when he throws a certain pitch, he touches the ground. I mean, the hitter can't detect something like that.
Here's Mattingly, and they pitch out on the first delivery. So with Kelly aboard, the Royals doing a little guessing, calling for the pitch out just to see if the Yankees would put something on.
Well, a similar situation the last time when Kelly was on the move and Mattingly tried to pull the ball. And I'm always a believer that when you've got your 3 or 4 hitters up, and especially a Don Mattingly, when he gets ahead in the count, I don't like starting a run. You want him to pick his pitch.
There goes Kelly, and a liner up the right side. That's a foul ball.
So they've hit and run and consecutive at bats with Don Mattingly. This time he got a pitch up, belt high, inside part of the plate. I mean, Bucky Dent has seen his team the last 2 ball games score 1 run each of the last 2 hits. And he knows that the bottom third of the lineup has struggled. So he's got to generate offense at this area. And you do things really when you're struggling for offense to try and generate something, get an inning going. And that's Bucky's philosophy, I guess, at this point.
Kelly back in. Well, he's trying to do something.
Yeah.
Hall would be next. 1 on, 1 out. And again, Kelly back in.
Mattingly's focus is so good, and I don't think he even sees the runner going. He's focused in on the baseball so much.
There he goes. And this one popped up left side, short left. Eisenreich coming in. And has it for the out.
Well, it happened once before this season where Kelly couldn't find the ball, didn't glance over his shoulder. It almost happened again. Because this time the kid, Terry Shumpert, was decoying him, and Roberto Kelly ran up to the second base bag again.
So Mattingly is the second out. The Royals like Shumpert, and they project him as a fellow who could play a lot at second base and eventually hit up a little higher in the lineup. Here's Mel Hall.
Somebody's got to tell Roberto Kelly that if he's not going to look over his shoulder, that he's got to stop looking at the middle infielder who are decoying. He's got to look to somebody out of the play, either his third base coach to tell him get back, or pick the third baseman. That's what Joe Morgan did. Third baseman would tell him where the ball is in the hit-and-run situation.
Foul ball, strike 1 to Hall.
You don't want to trust the middle infielders in those situations if you're on a hit-and-run situation.
They're not very trustworthy anyway, are they?
No. No.
1 strike to count. No score. Yankees have 4 hits. Kelly, the man at first, has 2 of them.
The thing about it, if you don't pick up the ball, say there's a wild pitch, you end up getting beat. You slide into second base, you can't get to third. There's so many things can go wrong when you can't find the baseball when you're in a hit-and-run situation.
Kelly back. Gubizca pretty good move to first and to the plate. He's not necessarily an easy man to try the straight steal with. There goes Kelly. The pitch is low and the throw not in time. Breaking ball and the throw in front of the bag.
And there was another example, I think, where still caught him as though the throw is not coming, and Kelly doesn't slide. Roberto got away with it. He had a good pitch to run on a breaking ball down low, and still all say, well, it's not coming. He just decoys, and Roberto got away with it.
So a steal for Kelly, his 7th. Nice block there by the catcher McFarland. 2-1. I don't know what happened to McFarland's throw. Way short of the bag. Three balls and a strike.
One of those sliders almost in the dirt, and he probably knew he had to hurry with Kelly's jump and didn't have a good grip on the ball. Bucky then keeps on waiting for some of these left-handed hitters to get the ball in the seats for him.
And Hall on 3-1 loops it foul back to the Kansas City dugout. 3-2.
Mal checking with the home plate umpire Terry Cooney on a 3-1 pitch as if to say, was it a strike? And I think he got the negative sign from Terry Cooney, the home plate umpire, that it was ball 4.
Now the count all the way out. Yankees again with a man in scoring position. 2 gone. And he's still alive. A foul ball. Got just a piece of it. No chance for McFarland to hang on for the foul tip strikeout.
I don't know how he got a piece of it with that kind of slider. 3-2 count.
Bucky Dent hoping for a 2-out base hit here. Again, the 3-2. And another foul ball.
The crowds were picking up last night. We had about 30, and again today, 2 relatively nice spring days, and fans are starting to come out to see their Yankees now.
'27-year-old right-hander Mark Gubizca came in with an earned run average of over 6, and that's down from around 8. Again, a foul ball. He's staying right in there on Hall, and Mel Hall fighting him off.
It's a typical pitch from a right-hander to left-hander. A slider down and in, gets it off your foot. And Gubizca's got the one to the right-hand hitters also, the sinker down and in. The right-hander, so he's got both sides covered. Just a terrifically lively arm. You see so many pitchers, or some pitchers come to the big leagues and they can't get movement on their ball. They change the finger pressure and the seams and how they grip the ball. And no matter what he throws, you cannot throw it straight.
That's Kelly at second. Again, the 3-2 to Hall. And he got him this time on strikes to retire the side. Second strikeout for Gubizca. No runs, 1 hit. The Yankees leave a man. We have gone through 3 and we have no score.